Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz, he's staunchly pro-Israel, and he went out publicly while he was speaking to Marco Rubio, really edging on the war in Iran, stating it can't be finished, absolutely not, until the nuclear dust is taken out of Iran, whatever means necessary. So this is pretty interesting. Take a listen to this, and let's talk about it.
Issues.
Absolutely. So the removal of highly enriched uranium is an irreversible step. You remove it or you destroy it, it's not there anymore. On enrichment, those are limits, but if you're not inspecting it, they can always violate it. And as long as they have the equipment and the know-how, they could always violate it in the future as well. So that would have to be, that's the one that would have to be monitored. But the enrichment you could verify immediately because you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, and for me, I think you have to dismantle what's there and you have to get out what's there. I think that's the most critical piece because, Iran has survived multiple administrations. That's their whole goal. Their whole goal is just run out the clock. They've run out of clock previously. And so the idea that they'll pledge to do something in the future, I just don't think we can trust that. Once we pull away the military, once we move on to another topic, their pledge is kind of irrelevant. Getting what's there removed, I think has to be the most important thing. Otherwise, it's hard to convince, I think, the American people that it was worth the success.
So no, I have to stop here. Actually, the American people don't want that to happen. We're done. Just move on. We're done. This is the thing. He's staunchly pro-Israel, and you know who else is? What's really interesting? He's a Democrat. And the one thing that pro-Israel Democrats will always have in common with any administration, whether Republican is otherwise, is they'll always be pro-war. They'll always be pro-war. If you're wondering why these war power resolutions aren't happening, it's because of Moskowitz. It's because of John Fetterman. It's because of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They're all staunchly pro-Israel. They're Democrats, whatever that means, and they're still really edging on this war. Every single one of them, staunch Jewish Zionists, they're always edging on this war. And not only that, but they want more war. They genuinely want more war. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, it's not enough. We have to go in and take out the enriched uranium. Do they understand what that entails to do? How they would go about that? That means they want troops on the ground. They want troops on the ground to go ahead and do that. How the hell is that going to happen? How is that possible? Because they say that they want to go in there and get it. He never said, diplomacy, whatever. He said they want to go in there and get it. How in the hell is that possible? Imagine what that's going to look like. So they don't care about risking American lives as long as it benefits Israel. Because again, guys, it doesn't pose a threat to us. Not only are they not developing nuclear weapons, they also don't have the missiles that can reach the United States. Same guy, by the way, same exact guy that was also concerned about Iran's drones. Why? Why is any American concerned about Iran's drones that can never reach the U.S. at all? Why are we concerned about Iran's drones? It's the most unnecessary thing to be concerned about. It's Israel's concern. They can deal with that. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Moskowitz, Fetterman, they've all at one point brought up the drones. Let Israel deal with it. It's not our drones to worry about, and we shouldn't be shooting them down when they're not ours to worry about. Let Israel deal with all of that. They want to tie the United States and Israel so closely together that basically the United States is Israel and is Israel's military. I mean, they're legitimately actually fusing the United States and Israel military. At least that's what the legislation is they're trying to put forward. We can't unseparate it this way. So I want to show you guys a few more videos of this guy. I mean, he was talking to somebody that I love to criticize a lot, which is Jake Tapper. It's right over here, and he was also talking to Jake Tapper basically about this exact conversation and whether or not he supports Marco Rubio and the Trump administration's efforts regarding the Iran war. Take a listen.
In that House hearing today, Tennessee Republican Tim Burchett and Florida Democrat Jared Moskowitz. Congressman Moskowitz, what's your assessment of Secretary Rubio's conclusion that the war is over, given what he laid out there to your colleague?
Jake, good to be with you. Good to be here with my colleague, Tim. First, let me turn the AI off. There we go. That's a little bit better now. Look, I thought the secretary obviously was, prepared to talk to Iran today. That was not a secret that was going to happen. I do disagree with him slightly on, what the war was about. I mean, for me, it's nice that we've degraded their military, but that's not why we went there. We went there to make sure that we get the uranium, that we get the nuclear dust. The president's talked about that, and that the facilities that are underground are no longer functional. I think that defines success. Short of getting the nuclear dust and getting the uranium out of the country, I just don't know how we're going to be able to tell the American people that it was worth going there.
Can I just, I'm also, what the hell is nuclear dust? Trump made up the word and now they're just using it. It's not a thing. They just say the highly enriched uranium. They don't want to say that. The reason Trump even made up the word nuclear dust is because he wanted Americans, he didn't want Americans to think that the first attempt to bomb it wasn't successful. So he said, oh, well, we bombed the enriched uranium. There's nothing left a year ago. But now people are wondering, well, why did this Iran war start? And now he's saying, well, the uranium is actually gone, but we have to get the nuclear dust. That's not a thing. There's no such thing as nuclear dust that you're going to get. What, are they just going to sweep the dust off the floor and give them green dust? Like, what is the law? It's not a word. They're making it up. That's the first thing. Just say the highly enriched uranium that was never taken out. Because otherwise, now we're just playing stupid. And the next thing is, it's great that they degraded the military that never posed a threat to the United States. Here's the thing. Every single time they say it's great that we did this to Iran, it's great that we did that, none of it was a threat. None of it was a threat. No, it's not great. It's not great because when you compare the pros and cons of this whole thing, how did Iran's Navy get taken out make a difference to us here? It didn't make a difference to us. It didn't make a difference to us. It actually made the world worse because look at the effects that caused. But for him, he's having a joyride with it because, of course, his obsession with Israel. As long as Israel's okay, then that's fine. So yeah, let's take out their navy. Let's go ahead and take out their nuclear dust. Let's go ahead, ask them to sweep it up and give it back to us, or give it to us. It's not actually give us back. What we should be doing is asking Israel to give us back all of their nuclear equipment that they stole from us. But it doesn't matter. And, Jake Tapper, this is what I find so funny because now once you wake up to this, you can't unsee it, which is how that, I'm 30 as of just a few days ago. Also fun fact, my birthday's on the 29th of May and that's the same day as John F. Kennedy's birthday. So me and John F. Kennedy both had our birthdays a few days ago. Random thing. But anyways, stupid. What I was saying is that I'm 30 now and I haven't noticed a time in my, up until now, I'd say after October 7th especially, I never really understood too much or really looked into too much how the government works, but I always just found it interesting that, whether Democrat or Republican, they're both dropping bombs. And we have this, they try to paint this vision that Democrats don't drop bombs or anything. But now I'm starting to realize, actually, the Democrats that are in support of war all the time are really just Zionists. And even the Republicans that are in, actually both sides, they're just Zionists. Because whenever there's an anti-Zionist or just a non-Zionist neutral candidate, they don't support war all the time. And then I started thinking, well, wow, because once you realize that and you're like, oh, wow, basically every war the United States has really been involved in the Middle East, every single one in the Middle East and Africa, every single one, the only one, the people on the left that were edging it on, the left, whatever that means, they're just Zionists. Zionists have been pushing wars in the United States, in the U.S. government every single time. There's always there's a direct correlation between pro-Israel, Israel-aligned interests, and war. That's pretty obvious. It shouldn't be the biggest shocker. But even now, just seeing it, it's like you actually, what part of you is actually, whatever Democrat means, what part of you actually is that? Unless, maybe Democrat is pro-war. So it just doesn't. None of it makes sense to me. I know it makes actually pretty clear sense to me. And this is who is the face of this party. He's the same guy who actually called to censor Rashida Tlaib, and he called to censor her again because of the Iran War Powers Resolution. Where is it? Here it is. He stated he called that Ro Khanna's bipartisan Iran's War Power Resolution is the Ayatollah Protection Act, and he called for everyone to censor Rashida Tlaib, who just introduced the Lebanon War Powers Resolution. He loves war. He's drooling at it, fomenting from the sides of his lips for war nonstop. He called for everyone to censor Rashida Tlaib. And he's no different than another Democrat, Congressman Josh Guthenheimer. Same thing. They're just, staunchly, it seems like they were just installed in Congress for this one reason. Now, if you go to my website that I built out for you guys, if you go to votelog.org, and we can actually search up Moskowitz and see how he's doing with the Israel lobby. So we go to dashboard here, and you can just actually type in his name, might be easier. And there he is of Florida. And here he is, $1 million from the Israel lobby. This might probably be higher. I'm still working on pulling everything. 867,000 from PACs directly, and 135,000 from donors, wealthy donors. And if we look at his, if we look at his resolutions that he's put forward, staunchly, this is his voting record. I want to go to his sponsorships. This one should be a pro-Israel bill. I don't know why it's listed as neutral. Calling on elected officials, basically everything regarding anti-Semitism, Abraham Accords Defense Against Terror Act, lead sponsor. Look at all the co-sponsors. Oh my gosh. Bird Energy U.S.-Israel Act, Iran Sanctions Relief, PLA Terror Act, United States-Israel Defense Partnership Act, Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, IGO Anti-Boycott Act, Stand With Israel Act, Hamas Terror Fugitive Act. I mean, there really aren't that many politicians that are co-sponsoring this much legislation regarding Israel, and then being the lead sponsor on a lot of others. That's not a thing. That's just not a thing. The amount of legislation he's put forward in support of Israel is not this is not normal for somebody that's supposed to be representing the United States of America. It's not normal. It's not normal. And then there's another video of him crying regarding the fact that people in the United States are noticing what's going on in Gaza. He actually got mad, and he asked Marco Rubio during the interview regarding Gaza. He asked him, like, why is there so much focus on Gaza? Let me see if I can forward to this.
We talked a lot about critical minerals. I think the administration is doing a really good job on thousands of people that are dead in that war, or the 25,000 people that were kids that were kidnapped, or all the kids that were killed in that war. The terrible images that exist in a real war. Well, why is it, do you think, and is it the Chinese again, that the algorithm is full of what's going on in the Middle East, but the Ukraine-Russia war, nothing. No images, no stories about the kids, no stories about the hundreds of thousands of people that are dead.
Yeah, I can't speak to the algorithms and what those systems are doing with regard to that. I can tell you that in addition to what you just mentioned, I do think that, this is my observation, this war has now lasted longer.
So, I mean, you see, why would he even ask? He's asking the question because he's really annoyed with it. There's also another video where he asks a very similar. He's talking about social media.
What you saw, okay, in this strike in Iran, if you look at social media, I want you to understand that there are a lot of people on the woke right that it turned out they hated Jews more than they liked the president, and they picked a side. That's how much they hated Jews. And it is people, yes, there's all sorts of bots on Twitter, but it is people with millions of followers, and they are brainwashing. And so now it's happening on both sides, okay? And you know what's happening? It's coming like this. It starts over here, and then it goes, and then it goes, and then you have consensus. And that's where we're headed. And so I'm not debating with you that you're...
So he's talking about, apparently, Tucker Carlson... Megyn Kelly, more new, Candace Owens, talking about how there's that shift. And of course, he immediately makes it focus on Jewish people, again, always, instead of Israel. And on the left, it's always Israel, but he got pissed off. There's another video of him, I think I have it somewhere here, where somebody asked him about, here it is, this was earlier this year, about Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Israel. He got mad, and then he brought it back to Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Russia.
Think that there's any ties between Jeffrey Epstein and intelligence that you know of based on what you've seen?
I don't know anything. There were reports today, obviously, about Russia ties, because apparently some of these girls came from Russia. I don't know. I saw that was on Drudge Report I saw. So, I mean, there's been all these, conspiracy theories about Epstein and whether he was working with government services, but today there was a report on Russia.
Yeah, we saw the Russia reports as well, and we've reported on the ties between Jeffrey Epstein and Russian intelligence as well. But we also reported that an Israeli spy stayed in his apartment in New York City for weeks on end, several
You've never
periods of weeks
hosted
on
an Israeli
end.
spy before?
I have not.
Everyone's done that, no?
Oh, I didn't know you have. You said everyone. Okay. But I have not, and I'm just curious, like whether, again, I know your stance on Israel, but I just want to know whether that poses any sort of concern on national security, something you at least look into.
No, of course, that all should be looked into. I just don't go off of, Reddit posts. I want to see actual evidence of it.
You won't even bring it up immediately, reverts it back to Russia. Won't, you know, so this if somebody brings up Jeffrey Epstein in Israel and you ever respond to any other country at this point, I think you are, you know, just get out of my face, because you're mocking my intelligence. You're mocking my intelligence. And there's too much mocking of intelligence among American politicians and their constituents. So that's all I had to say for that. I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, please go ahead and click the like button below, give it a thumbs up, comment below, let me know your thoughts. And also, guys, if you haven't yet, definitely consider joining as a member. If you see people in the comments with the JFK emoji and the censored emoji and all of those other cool emojis, you can use those emojis too if you join as a member. So make sure to click the join button below to do that today. You also get to see member-only videos I do pretty often on here. Hope you guys found this video interesting, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye, everybody.